Well, the Better Business Bureau is kind of thinking out of the box. Joining us today to tell us more about it, Lane Montz. He's with the Better Business Bureau in Northwest Ohio, the president and CEO. And thanks for coming.
Thanks, Holly. Yeah.
All right, Lane. So you guys are out there. You know, we know that you're looking at scams, trying to tell us what businesses are doing good things and what aren't. But you've got a podcast started. So tell us about this.
Well, first of all, we've been around since 1919. So it took us 105 years to get into that modern technology and get into the podcast business. But yeah. I think we are the first Better Business Bureau in the country to begin putting on a podcast on a regular basis. We recorded our first 4 segments last week at WSPD Studios, iHeartMedia up in Toledo.
All right. So why did you think a podcast was a good idea? What kind of things are you going to send in your messages in these podcasts?
Well, just like I'm ham for the camera, I never met a microphone I didn't like. No, we think it's important that people hear about the businesses. So we have about 6,000 of the 40,000 businesses in our 24 county service area.
Wow.
We have a lot of businesses. I don't think there's a bigger organization, membership organization in this area.
Yeah.
And these businesses, many of them are small and medium size, a lot of family-owned businesses. They're doing things. We have businesses out there doing things that you would be very surprised to hear are in existence. So it's a way to connect with the community. Hopefully it's entertaining. You get to hear their story about why they're in business. And then we try to do some educational stuff as well.
Right, so it's kind of to focus on the smaller ones, not the big box stores or big businesses that you always hear and could advertise, the family ones. That's kind of cool to hear their stories because they're different than what you would imagine, I assume.
So among the first 4, we had a mold remediation company that only works in homes. We had a pregnancy surrogacy center. This week I'm recording an engineering firm that does production line, very quick production line. So a lot of cool stuff. And you just, you hear these stories, you're like, these matter. And this is something that I personally care about. I mean, I did grow up in Findlay. I'm from this area. I'm very devoted to Northwest Ohio. I just think it's important for people to remember that the small and the medium size and the family businesses that have bricks and mortar locations, that they exist, they're very important.
Right.
Yeah, the big brands are clearly have their place, obviously. But really the engine that keeps this area of the country going is the small and medium-sized business.
Yeah, that's what they always say. You know, they always have a small business Saturday and things like that. That this small business is really the heart of it all. They're your neighbors, right? I mean, the people that you're living with and you want to support them.
Well, you said the heart of it all. The name of the podcast is
that's a good one.
A Heart for Business. So way to go. Way to segue that in, Holly.
All right, so will you be able to get this podcast at your normal podcast places?
I drove around at the mall looking for the podcast store, and I couldn't find.
I know, like I've listened to them on Spotify and things like that. Where should you go to listen to this podcast?
You can get it. It's in partnership with iHeartMedia,
okay.
Right? So various radio stations were promoting it pretty heavily, but you get podcasts through podcast platforms or apps.
Okay.
So the iHeartMedia app, Spreaker, Spreaker, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that's what you should look for, a heart for business, right?
A heart for business.
Yeah, all right, so when's the first one? You've taped some, so when do we get to listen to the first one?
First one drops this coming Thursday, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they start to drop first one, and then weekly thereafter.
Okay.
The response was overwhelming. I signed up 24 businesses so fast I couldn't believe it.
See, that's awesome. And
yeah.
like you said, this is a change, a little bit different for the Better Business Bureau, but you got to try to reach out to everyone, right? All ages, because they need that to know the kind of information that you have. I
love doing the scam warnings. We certainly want to serve the public. That's part of our mission. But really, our core mission is to support businesses. Yeah. So
that's a good way to do it. Something fun to do. All right, very good. And real quick before we run out of time, it is the season for romance scams. You're talking about scams. Quick, a few tips about making sure you don't get scammed before Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so it does ramp up before Valentine's Day. If the main thing is if you're corresponding with someone and they're making big plans and you've never met them, and every time you try to meet them, there's a reason or an excuse. I mean, they're probably not that person. They might even not be a person anymore with AI.
Oh, right, yeah.
So do not give money to people that you're in an electronic relationship with unless you've met them.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming today. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Holly.
All right, don't go away. We'll take a look at medical news next.